Hey everyone, happy Wednesday.
Hi.
We are back with our weekly live here on the Clever Girl Finance YouTube channel. And if you are catching this as a replay on Instagram or LinkedIn and Twitter, welcome. My name is Bola Shokumbi. I'm the founder and CEO of Clever Girl Finance. We are a financial empowerment platform for women that provides free financial education, over 30 plus completely free courses. And we do this live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. And Yazmir, my awesome co host, is going to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, I'm Yazmir. I'm the social media content creator for Clever Girl Finance. I'm based in New York City and I'm very excited for another fun topic today.
Yeah, so while everyone is tuning in, I'd love for you to share where you are joining from. And I just wanted to take a moment just to mention briefly all the craziness that's going on in the world. We are all seeing what's happening in Ukraine on the news. And while this is not a channel where we talk about politics, I just wanted to, express our concern and the fact that we are keeping everyone who's impacted by this conflict in our prayers. And if there is a way that you want to support women, children who are being impacted and displaced by this conflict, definitely check out UNICEF, the UNICEF website, or rescue.org, or even the American Red Cross. I know that they have some aid efforts, but I just wanted to mention that, because war is devastating and impactful and just a very scary situation. So, yeah, welcome everyone. I see someone joining from South Africa. Welcome. Tell us where you're joining us from. And today's topic, yes, we're going to be talking about comparison and why you should not compare yourself to other people, the dangers of comparison, and how to deal with comparison. And something to keep in mind is that none of us are immune to comparison. I am a victim of comparing myself to other people. I feel jealous, I feel envious, I feel all the emotions that are tied to comparison, but it's something that we need to actively work on, especially when it comes to money and goals. So before we get into the topic, be sure to check out the Clever Girl Finance book. We always share this. We'd love for you to support us. The book series, I mean. So there's Clever Girl Finance, Grow Your Money, the investing book, and then the Side Hustle Guide. You can find this book wherever you purchase your books, Amazon, the bookstore, Audible. You can ask your library to order the books for you, but we would really appreciate your support. So I see folks joining. Hi, Kia from Philly. Hi, Pamela from South Africa. Jillian from Barbados, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Ingrid from Orlando, welcome. Someone said amazing content. Okay, thank you. So, okay, let's get into the topic.
Yes, today's topic is comparison. And while some of us think of comparison as something like harmless and healthy, because it gives us something to strive for, it could be detrimental to our mental health. So it's not something that we should really like aim for. I understand like we might admire someone for the things that they do and sort of want to emulate that, but that's different from comparison. And today we're gonna discuss why a few reasons why you should never compare yourself to anyone.
Yes, very important. Like Yasmer said, it's one thing to emulate and be motivated and inspired by, but it's another thing to be comparing yourself to somebody else without really knowing what that person's life is about. So let's talk about those main
Mhm.
reasons why we want to avoid comparison.
Yes, before I get to the first reason, I just wanted also to mention that comparison can lead to unhappiness and exhaustion, and you'll see why. The first reason is that enough is never enough for us. I'm guilty of this too, where I'm thinking, oh, if I had blank, I'd be happy. So for someone, it could be if I had a big house, if I had this car, if I had these clothes, I'd be happy. But what happens is that when we obtain these things and we compare ourselves to others, then what we have is not enough, and then we go and find that other thing that makes us happy. And in the end, it just doesn't, we're just accumulating stuff, and they don't really make us happy.
That is so true. I mean, I've also told myself, oh, when I have this blue bag, I'm going to be happy. It's going to complete my bag collection. When I have this thing, I'm going to be happy. And then you're focused on the thing, you get the thing, and then you see your friend gets the thing, but hers is better. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I have the blue one, but when I get the green one, I'll be happy because that girl has the better one. And if I have two, then in a way, I have more than her and I'm better than her. And then I'm going to be happy. And then we get the green one and we have the blue one. And then she gets the blue, pink, and the orange one. And then we thought
Mm-hmm.
we were happy with just having blue and green. And we see this friend with all these other colors. And we're like, oh, I'm not happy anymore because now she has all these things that I don't have that I want. And that constant comparison is so distracting from your goals because you're so focused on what this other person has and what this other person is doing. And not just that, focusing on that other person, you start to feel jealous, you start to feel envious, you start to feel inadequate with yourself, you start to feel resentful, right? You find it difficult to compliment her. um you have a nice bag, you can't say it because you're so mad that she has more than you. Enough
Mm-hmm.
is never enough. And Leslie said the goalpost keeps shifting when you're focusing on other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what it is. When you are worried about what other people have, and social media is one of the biggest pit holes, but what you think is enough is never enough for you. And that's very dangerous because the pursuit of more then takes you off path from the goals and the true intentions that you have for your life, for your finances, for your career, for your relationships, even for your kids, right? People compare everything. They compare jobs, they compare outfits, they compare husbands, they compare boyfriends, they
Mm-hmm.
compare anything you can compare. We can compare. They compare hair. We compare everything, right? um so it's very important, that enough should be enough for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this can cause detriment to our finances because then we are, especially if there are items, we're spending money on getting these just to keep up with the Joneses, as the saying
Yes.
goes.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely, like we have to be mindful of that, that we're just spending all this money, to compare ourselves to something that we don't even know if it's real, but we'll get more into that,
Kia
in a
said,
bit.
Kia said, what I discovered recently is that I'm completely content with living a simple life, but somehow I've allowed the internet others to make me feel as if my living simply is not okay. Yeah, it's a fine line, right? Because you put yourself on your own path and then you glance to the side, Instagram or YouTube, and it's like, oh wow, look at what other people are doing and look at what I'm doing. It's not enough.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. As I mentioned before, second reason that we should stop comparing ourselves is because it just may lead to unhappiness. As someone mentioned before, it's like the goal is like a moving post. You achieve something, and then you see someone achieve something better, and then you just wanted to do whatever you can to get there, or you feel like you can't, this person's better than me, and that can lead to a lot of stress and depression.
Yes, and Andrea said, you will never be happy when comparing yourself to others. There is always someone that has more. That is so true. There's always someone, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how talented you are, how amazing, how stylish, how beautiful. There's always someone else in this world that has
Mm-hmm.
something that is better than what you have. That's just the nature of the world. And this is simply because sometimes, the same way our fingers are not equal, we're all on different stages of our journey. We may be able to accomplish what someone has, but we may not be there yet. But someone else might be there at that point right now. So when you are constantly comparing, you start to be unhappy because you never get an opportunity to really just pause and enjoy what you have. And
Mm-hmm.
Pamela said that you're living for the next best thing. It's exhausting because you don't enjoy anything because you're pursuing more. And that unhappiness, being unhappiness is a brewing ground for, it's a petri dish for all kinds of other emotions. Like I said, the anger, the resentment, the jealousy, the envy, saying bad things about people because you're unhappy, being negative, bringing people down. Yes, she has this all, but it's because of XYZ, is because she can't. And then we become this negative person tied into that unhappiness that ties back to us comparing ourselves to other people that we really don't need to compare ourselves, because we don't know their life's journey. We don't know their story. We don't know what they have. I guarantee you that if you look at someone you feel you compare yourself with and you feel envious with, if you were to get a glimpse of their life, most people don't want that other person's life, because you don't know what it took for them to get there. You don't know what sacrifice or what loss they have experienced to be where they are, right? And you may not want to be there. You may not want that life. Most people don't want that other person's life when they see the real truth behind the life, the real struggle, the real everything.
Yes. And thinking about this topic, I was thinking about how there might be others looking at me and saying, oh, I wish I had what Yazmir has. And then that makes me be appreciative of the things that I have and I have accomplished. Because just as I may want something that someone has or feel bad that I don't have it, there's someone looking at me and saying, oh, I wish I had what Yazmir had.
Yes, yes. And, we have to recognize that sometimes it's really difficult to, especially when you've been struggling, you've been working so hard, you're killing yourself, and you see someone that maybe you feel doesn't deserve it, get what you want. It's
Hmm.
hard to be happy for that person. It really is hard.
Yes.
And I can tell you firsthand, it's like, why should I be happy? I've been working so hard for this thing. Who is this person? She's lucky, her family has money, all these things. You feel them as human beings. I've felt all these things, but you have to be able to manage them and combat that feeling of comparison, jealousy, anger, envy, so that you can come back to being grateful. You can come back to being focused on your goals. You can come back to being content. And we'll share some tips, but it's just, it's a cycle. It's not a thing that you say, oh, you know what, today I'm never going to compare myself, and then you stop. Because guess what, you're going to go on Instagram 2 weeks from now and see somebody that has something that you've been killing yourself to get, and you're going to feel that emotion of whatever,
Hmm.
jealousy, anger, and you're going to feel bad, and you might get distracted. You might go off your goals because you want to go buy something to compete with that person, because you want to make yourself feel better. So it's something that we constantly have to work on, managing that idea of not comparing ourselves to other people. And when we find ourselves comparing ourselves to other people, managing those emotions so that we can get ourselves back on path to being content.
Hmm. And I like to add to that too is figuring out what are your triggers too. What's triggering you to feel that way, and sort of dig into it and discover why.
Yeah. Desiree said, I had to snooze a comrade of mine because her sharing triggered me. I was feeling jealous and mediocre. I had to be honest with myself. I couldn't be happy for her. And that, that's
Hmm.
valid. That is sometimes that it is what it is. It is what it is. Sometimes there are people that, you know what, I cannot be happy for you. I'm not in the headspace. I don't think you deserve it. Maybe. You know how it is when you get caught up in your emotions. I can't, but like you said, Yasmer, it's going back to figure out what's triggering this emotion where you just cannot be happy for this person. A lot of times it's inner work. This person doesn't know. They may not realize, maybe they do, but the comparison you're feeling has nothing to do with the person, and it has to do with you. It has to do with me. It has
Hmm.
to do with what I'm thinking, what I'm experiencing, how I'm acting, right? So it's about, again, managing those emotions so that we can get back on track towards our goals.
Yeah. Now, third and last. Oh, did we have a comment? What they are blessed with is there's blessings, and what you have is only your blessing.
Exactly.
Thanks, Andrea. That's a very good point. I love that. So the third and final reason that we wanted to discuss why you shouldn't compare yourself to others is that what you may be comparing yourself to is completely fake. And if you think
Mhm.
about it, you know, in social
Yes.
media, no one's gonna put out their, their worst days. They're always putting out their best days only. So you'll see, like, for example, someone got that promotion, but we don't know how that person got there, the sacrifices that they made. Um, and so we're just comparing ourselves to that and saying, well, to ourselves, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I do that? But people don't discuss their bad days at all.
Yes, yes. And you may see someone on social media that has a nice car, the beautiful closet, but they are in so much debt that if you heard the amount, you would
Mhm.
lose your mind, right? They are in so much debt from trying to showcase this perfect life, but you are there wishing you had it, but you are paying off your debt or you're debt free, but you're jealous of someone who has a ton of debt, but their life looks glamorous from a curated social media feed. So it's very, very important to be careful of what you're envious of what you're comparing yourself to, because you may really not want that, right? Yes, you get the nice car and the beautiful closet, but do you also want the multi thousands of dollars of their debt too? You don't want that, right? You may see the perfect relationship, but do you know that maybe behind closed doors, there's a lot of conflict in that situation, right? You don't
Mhm.
want that. There's this saying my dad always used to say, and Palma just put it in the chat, not everything that glitters is gold. No, sometimes
Yep.
it's copper that's gold plated.
Yes.
Right? So it's very important to be careful of what you wish for other people, that other people have, what you wish for yourself, because honestly, you may not want that thing. You may not want it. What if you were to exchange your lives, right? Like
Mhm.
it goes. There's so many like stories of it, like the Prince and the Pauper. Have you guys ever watched the movie or listened to read the book where they switch lives? They look exactly alike, and they switch their lives, and the pauper realizes that he doesn't really want to be the prince anymore, even though he has everything that the prince wants. He wants to go back to his own life, right? It's kind of like that. So we're going to talk about
Mhm.
what we can do instead of comparing ourselves to others.
Yes, and the first one is be grateful for what you have. As I mentioned earlier, like, you may have something that someone else wants. Be grateful that you have it, and that's gonna also help you not to fall into that rabbit hole of comparing yourself, and therefore you feeling unhappy and stressed that you don't have what you think you need just because someone else has it.
Yes, being grateful is so important. And it's just pausing every morning, maybe to count your blessings. I woke up, I'm alive. I have savings, I'm investing, I'm paying down my debt. I have beautiful clothes, I have beautiful children. Just take a moment to reflect on what you do have as opposed to keeping your mind on what you don't have. That's so important. Another thing I'll add is that, sometimes when I get into those deep throes of just feeling resentful at other people for what they have, one thing that really helps bring me back to my own contentment is to compliment that person out loud. Because a lot of times when you're comparing and you're feeling jealous, it's in your head, and it's so difficult for you to say, wow, congratulations, wow, you look nice. Oh, I like what you have, because I do truly like what you have, right? But when I compliment you out loud, it helps just break that stupid mental barrier of, wow, she has that thing that I don't have. Instead, I've complimented her and I've told her that it's beautiful because I like it. And it brings me back to my own place of balance and contentment, right? So sometimes just saying it out loud, saying something positive out loud helps to combat the negativity that you're feeling. And it's a small step, but it's totally doable. There's some people that you can't beg them to give a compliment. They can never do it. They will look at you from head to toe when they see you and then carry their face away like
Mm-hmm.
they can never say it, but imagine if you could just
Yeah.
say, you know what, girl, you look beautiful. You look beautiful. Your hair is nice. Your outfit is nice. There are studies that show that when you make an effort, an intentional effort to compliment other people, it brings you back to your peace because now you are happy for other people. I remember we talked about comparison. Leading into unhappiness because you're so focused on what you don't have. And when you compliment someone and you say you look nice and they say thank you smile, they smile, you feel happier, right? You come
Mm-hmm.
back to your place of gratitude and contentment. So if you're struggling with someone or something, compliment them out loud,
Mm-hmm.
exaggerate it. Make them feel like a superstar and you will feel better too.
Yes, and one thing that I started to do, it was actually recommended by someone, is that to write down what you have and what you have accomplished because we tend to forget those. We focus so much on the negative that we forget everything that we have. So I started to use a 5-year journal. So
Ah,
every
yes.
day, yeah, I will write down like what happened well today, what didn't, what I learned from it, and then, and next year I'll look back and I'll say, "Oh, wow, I have accomplished a lot of things," or there's things that happened, but I learned from them.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of a gratitude journal. I have a gratitude journal well page in my planner, and it makes all the difference because there are days where you will really struggle with what can I be grateful for, but when you pause and you think about it, you'll find something to be grateful for.
Hmm. Yes. Second thing you can do is to give yourself permission to be happy. Um, we often let ourselves we often get ourselves down a lot because we don't have those things that other people have or that we strive for. So we just feel like, what's the point of being happy? I'm not going to try. But give yourself permission. Do something, focus on something that you like, focus on your goals and what you want to accomplish.
Yes, so giving yourself permission to be happy means that you are intentionally going to do something that's going to make you happy. Looking at that girl, guy, whoever's feed on Instagram and getting jealous and more jealous the more you scroll is not you giving yourself permission to be happy. That's you giving yourself permission to be unhappy. Whereas you
Hmm.
giving yourself permission to be happy is reading the book you wanted to read that you've heard is so good and you love reading. So read that book and be happy. Watch that TV show everybody's talking about that's going to make you feel happy. Spend time with your friends, your family, your loved ones. Do something nice for someone else. Give yourself permission to be happy. Work on your goals. Reflect on the beautiful things that have happened to you in your life, right? When you're focusing on somebody else, you're not allowing yourself to be happy. You're allowing yourself to be discontent. That's not what you want to do. So be
Hmm.
intentional. This morning, every morning when I wake up, tell yourself, today, I'm going to be happy. Set an alarm on your phone every 2 hours so that when you least expect it, you get a Bola, you're gonna be happy today. So that if I'm on that Instagram feed and I'm losing my mind, oh my god, look at what she has. Oh my god, look at what she's doing. And my alarm pops up. I'm like, wait a minute, no, this is not making me happy. I'm gonna do something else that makes me happy.
Yes, and just to share a story, I used to punish myself by not getting the things that I wanted. So, for example, a manicure, pedicure. At the time, I was in a lot of debt, so I would look at other women and say to myself, "Well, they can do that because they're probably not in a lot of debt as I am." So I deprived myself from that. But then I changed my mindset and I said, no, I deserve this too. All I have to do is just open up a savings account and just allocate money there just for me to get a mani and pedi. And it just makes a difference. I'm not comparing myself. And if I do, I say, well, I don't know how that person's life really is. She might be in a lot of debt, but she's still treating herself to a mani and pedi. So that's something that I chose not to deprive myself from because it makes me feel good. It's a way of allowing myself to be happy.
Yes. And one thing I wanted to mention, I was going to mention it earlier, is that yes, sometimes we're comparing ourselves to things that are actually fake, but sometimes we're also comparing ourselves to people who actually deserve what they have. they have worked really hard. They don't have the debt. They're living their best lives because they are at that point in their journey and they deserve it. And we want to be very careful when we look at people like that and try to use our words to bring them down. Sure, she's worked
Yeah.
hard, but look at her. She's not even that cute. Oh, yeah, look at her. She doesn't even dress well. Like, don't find a reason to diminish somebody else's success because you haven't reached
Mm-hmm.
that point in your journey or because you are not happy. Instead, look for ways that you can find a way to be inspired from by what they have accomplished. Look at ways that they can motivate you, channel that energy in a different way as opposed to trying to bring them down and minimize their success. And this is something that as human beings we are very susceptible to doing. It's something that we are very we do it. We see someone so amazing, yeah, but look at her, but this, but she's been divorced, but she doesn't have a child, but we
Mm-hmm.
find a reason to diminish their success. There's enough room
Yeah.
for all of us to be successful. There's enough room for all of us to do well. This is not a competition of the first person to do well or the last person to do well, because there's a lot of room. So just be careful about the words that you speak about other people. And again, I'm guilty. This is a work in progress. I feel all these emotions. I go through all these feelings, but we always want to be intentional and catch ourselves when we are doing this so that we can bring ourselves back to our focus, our gratitude, our contentment.
And last thing we want to do also, to not fall in the trap of comparing ourselves, is try to limit our time in social media. Social media, while it has its benefits, when we fall into that rabbit hole of just scrolling and seeing other people living their best life, and again, people are putting forth their best days, not their worst days.
Yes.
So it would be helpful to sort of like limit the amount of time that you are on social media scrolling. Um, yes, of course, you want to go in and see, what how other people are doing, or, an influencer or celebrity you want to see. But I just feel like if you spend a lot of time, it's just gonna make you more susceptible to comparing yourself, and thus you'll be unhappy, feel depressed, anxious, etc.
Yes, social media is a slippery slope because you can just sit there and waste all your time looking at other people's fake lives, other people's real lives, being unhappy, getting into conversations you don't need to get into, making comments you don't need to comment on, right? So I have a limit on my phone for an hour and a half for all social media combined. And once this hour and a half completes, including YouTube, my phone locks itself. It locks itself. So I'm not going to YouTube today because the hour is finished. No more YouTube. Just you, and you can do that for your mental health. There are
Mhm,
studies that show that social media is linked to mental health issues because people are just on there all day,
mhm,
comparing each other, getting into fights, being negative, you know, it's just a crazy place. So like, and there's sometimes that you're having a bad day and you go on social media and I'm like, I cannot be happy for you today. I don't care what you're posting. I just cannot be happy for you today because I don't feel like it. And this is a perfect indication to take a social media break. Unfollow that
yeah.
person, block that person, delete that app, do a social media detox, come back to, okay, Bola, calm down. What am I grateful for? I'm choosing to be happy. My journey is different than other people's journeys. You know, bring yourself back by eliminating the thing that's causing you so much turmoil in your life. This tiny little app that you click on and you open it and it's ruining your whole day, delete it. If you get to that
Mhm,
point where it's so bad. And I've heard people say, "Oh, why do you need to take a social media break? Can't you control yourself? Can't you control your feelings?" This is how you cope, right? Sometimes people set all these standards of how we should behave, how we should feel, and if you cannot deal with social media, then there's something wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need a break for your mental health, for your
mhm.
sanity. Like, so it's okay to unfollow, to block, to delete, to take a break. A lot of people are giving up social media for Lent. On Instagram this morning, I saw so many goodbyes. See you in April. See you in April. I'm giving up social
Ah.
media for Lent. Perfectly fine. Okay, as long
Yeah.
as it's helping you not kill yourself looking at what other people are doing, give it up for Lent. Do what you need to do so
Mhm.
that you can make yourself happy. And someone just said it's wise to create your feed to give you positive vibes. Yes, and I do this.
Mhm.
Only post what you want to see. Motivation, whatever it is that makes you happy, inspiration. That's who you should follow, right? Don't follow people that are making you mad. You don't like that person. Why do you follow them? Why do you need to see their feed? You can't stand them, but you're all in their feed. You don't need to do that. You're making yourself unhappy. And that person is happy on Instagram posting their best life that continues to
Mhm.
aggravate your soul. You don't need that. You don't need it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are things to think about. Being grateful for what you have. Give yourself permission to be happy. Take the social media break if you need to. Curate your feed so that it inspires and motivates you. Compliment the other people in your life. Say it out loud. Okay, be happy for other people, and then let their success inspire and motivate you. Right,
Mhm.
and the final thing I would say is that there's a lot of standards that are put upon us by family, by society about what you should be, where you should be by a certain age. You should have this amount of money by this age, to be married by this age, have this many kids by this age, this by this age.
Mhm.
That's not what you want. Then don't pursue those standards for the sake of pleasing other people while you stay miserable and unhappy and continue to compare yourself. Sit down with yourself and determine what are the things I truly want from myself. Yes, everybody is saying get married, have kids, but do I want that? Everybody is saying start a business, do this. Do I want that? Everybody is saying go into this career, do this field, study nursing, study electrical engineering. Do I want that for myself? Am I going to be
Mhm.
happy? Because if you're following standards that are not making you happy, you're going to perpetually compare yourself to people living that life that you know will make you happy. And then you get upset, and then you get jealous, then you get envious, then you get resentful, then you say negative things, then you become this negative person. So take a moment and pause and really think about, what do I want for myself? Where do I want to be? What am I grateful for? How can I be inspired? Right? Comparison is the thief of everything: your joy, your
Mhm.
peace of mind, your positive attitude. Comparison is just not good for any of us. So it's something that we all have to constantly keep working on, including me. So,
Yeah, me too.
so Demo says, I only follow groups that motivate me and contribute to my growth. Jennifer said, I'm in a place of stillness and reflecting to pursue a better life. I love that. Um, Jennifer said also said she took a break from social media since December 2021. It's the best thing for me. I love that. So yes, something for us all to think about. And like Yasmin said earlier, comparison does tie into our finances, because then you find yourself spending money to impress people you don't like,
Mhm.
who don't even care. That's the worst part. The worst part. You don't like them and they don't care, but you're spending your money to prove a point to them.
Mhm.
You know what? I can have this too. But at the end of the day, nobody really cares.
Yeah.
So, yes. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate you. We'll be here next week with another live. Don't forget to pick up the book series. I know we promised to talk about book 4 today, which is coming out on July 2nd. But um, we got sidetracked and we didn't have enough time to show you the image. I want to show you guys the photo actually of the book cover and just spend 5 minutes talking about it. So let me just see if I can add it to screen so you guys can see it. I don't know if it's going to work because we didn't set it up in a presentation or anything, but actually I can share it right here on my screen. So yes, I have a book coming out in July. We're going to start talking about it soon. Let me share my screen. Do you see my screen? So it's going to be
I
out
see it.
in July. That's the book cover. Hold on. This is the book cover. It's called Choosing to Prosper. Do you see it, Yazmir?
Yep.
Yes, so this
Okay.
is book 4 that's coming. And it is a book about navigating. I share stories about navigating adversity, about things I had to do to get out of my comfort zone, to achieve my life and financial goals. And I challenge the reader to do the same for themselves. What are the things that you want to accomplish in your life, with your finances, with your career? And just really reflecting on what has brought you to this point, right? What are the stories and the people in your life that have shaped you, and how can you leverage who you are now, regardless of who you are now and where you are now, to achieve the things that truly matter to you, that you want for yourself? So this book is a labor of love. This is my 4th book. It's called Choosing to Prosper, and we're going to share more about this book as time progresses, but I wanted to show it to you guys today because we promised to talk about it, but we'll definitely be sharing more information about it soon. So thank you guys, and we will talk to you next week.
Yes.
Bye,
Thank you
everyone.
all. Bye.